You want Philly, Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's easy to sum it up. We're talking about practice.
Because it's about as casual as it gets. What's the problem now?
That's a clown question, bro.
I think we ought to change the beat in at least.
World champions!
Start playing with some jam in here. Let's go.
Philadelphia, looking as only you can look. Woo!
Here we go, here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first ever edition of the Philly podcast, brought to you live by SixPackCoverage.com, La Terrain Watches, and the Monkey's Uncle. Well, Chris, how are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good. You know, the Eagles had a big win last night. The hate still going around for for Jalen Hurts, and you know me, I'm the first guy to, I'll blast the guy, but like I don't understand what your issue could be with him right now. Like, I was at the game last night, so trust me when I tell you it was frustrating those first two series. First off, people are like, he threw an interception. Knock it off right now. Because that was a ridiculous interception. That may have been the dumbest interception I've ever seen in the history of it. Might be just as bad as Jason Sehorn's interception against McNabb in the 2000 playoffs, where his pants fell down. He picked it up and ran in for a touchdown. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but that's how ridiculous that interception was. And nobody knew it was. The only person who knew it was the guy who caught it. And then you have your Washington fans who were complaining that it should have been a pick six. Well, they called it incomplete, so you can't advance the ball. It was a terrible call by the officials. But at the end of the day, no one knew it was an interception. So, it was a good play. There's nothing you can say about, the Redskins, whatever they are, the Washington football team in the beginning of the game. Miles Sanders had tweeted out, stop booing. And, a couple people responded to it, prominent people in the Philadelphia sports world. Tyrone from 97.5, he was sitting there saying, don't boo them and this and that. I'm like, well, you were down 10-0 to a team that was missing 15 players, 3 starters on offense and 2 on defense. Like, I don't believe in booing. That's just not me. Like, me, we had this conversation earlier in the season about, booing. Like, I wouldn't boo Ben Simmons if he came back. Probably now I might, but and that's a big, and again, that's a 50-50 shot. Like, I'm not, again, he's on my favorite team, so I'm not going to boo him. That's just, we're just being stupid, in my opinion. Again, I could be 100%, like, again, I'm probably 100% wrong. Does Ben Simmons deserve the boos? Yes. Did Jalen Reagor deserve the boos? It was a little relentless. Like, he actually had a decent game. If you look at his overall stats, his stats weren't bad. I think he had 4 catches for like 56 yards. He had that big sprint down the sideline, on a big third down play.
He's just always going to eat it, though, because of they could have had Justin Jefferson. So, in a lot of the fans' minds, that he's never going to compare. He's just never going to compare. They view him as a bad pick and a punt returner, and that's it.
You know what? If he was a decent punt returner, I'd be okay with it. But he's average.
Right.
You just, I don't like. What does booing every time his name gets announced as a punt returner? Like, do you feel that much better that you're booing him? Like, why? Like, why are you booing?
I don't get the consistent booing of Jalen Reagor. I really don't. I honestly don't. There's guys that could do that are so much worse that have played here before and have, like I said, he's just eating it because of the draft. That's it. That's all it is. People are looking at stats. They're looking at what Justin Jefferson does with a guy like Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, and they how quick though fans are forgetting. Kirk Cousins is a way different quarterback than Jalen Hurts. So the numbers that Justin Jefferson is putting up in Minnesota, he probably wouldn't be putting up here.
No, you're absolutely right. And you know what? It's not even like Minnesota hasn't done anything.
No.
So you can sit there and you can laugh and you can holler at us and you can sit there and say ha ha ha, we have Justin Jefferson, but you haven't won anything. Like if you had won, I don't know, something else, if you had won a playoff game or won 2 playoff games and lost, and I don't know, if we lost in the NFC Championship game, maybe I'd give you a little bit of credit, but yes, it's frustrating. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. But they're nothing, like they haven't been said, they haven't won anything.
Right.
So, you didn't catch the whole game. You had fell asleep.
Yeah, I did. I was a completely horrible fan last night. Like I had to wait 16 days for them, and I fell asleep.
Yeah. So last night's game was a Tuesday night game. Interesting fact: the last 2 NFL teams to play on a Tuesday night were in the same year, November 6th, 1934. It was the Philadelphia Eagles defeating the Cincinnati Reds 64-0. And then the Reds became a baseball team.
That's pretty funny.
And then the Chicago Cardinals defeated the Brooklyn Dodgers 21-0. So 2 shutouts in the NFL, 70 or 86 years ago, 87 years ago. That's amazing. On the, 2 games played on one night and you have 2 shutouts. That's unheard of.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That's pretty good.
So, obviously everyone hates Jalen Hurts. Not everyone. You have your people who listen. Everyone knows where I was at on Jalen Hurts in the beginning of the season. I'm still on it, but he's my guy.
Right.
There's no reason why he shouldn't be your guy. All right, so he's got 10 rushing touchdowns. Okay, I mean those touchdowns that he ran yesterday were 1-yard scores. They weren't 50-yard scampers. The previous quarterback, he was 6'4". He would probably have done the same thing last night. He was 20 of 26 for 296 yards, a touchdown and interception. Interception wasn't his fault. It was not his fault at all.
No, not at all. That was a fluke.
He legitimately had 2 bad plays. The fumble, and he stepped up into a sack, and that was it.
That was it.
He had 8 carries for 38 yards. He's learning to read the RPO a whole lot better than it was in the beginning of the season. And, of those 20 of 26, again, 2 of those were dropped by Dallas Goedert, who had another remarkable game, even though he was overrated 4 weeks ago and needed Zach Ertz to compete. So, Jalen Hurts was making his first and second reads. He looked a little skittish, but to me, he's progressing. He's not taking steps back. And a big thing we saw last night was Nick Sirianni got on him after the fumble. All right.
There you go.
He got on him after that fumble. He yelled at him.
And it came out after the game that Jalen Hurts told him, I'm a coach's son, so get on me. And I was glad to hear that. Like, I loved it.
Is that what he said? He was a coach's son?
Yeah, because he was at one point coached by his dad, so his dad got on him, which I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. I had to look it up after he said it. I was like, wow, okay. So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, like, the thing that he did last night that I totally am absolutely in love with that he did, he was throwing from the pocket. He wasn't he wasn't, and that's been my biggest thing all year. It's like I understand how good his rushing game is, his legs are, but I'm a traditional pocket passer guy. I like a quarterback that can throw from the pocket, get in there, find his reads, go through his progressions, do his checkdowns if need be. He did what I've been wanting this kid to do all season long, and I was like, this is great. Like, I was so happy that I finally saw that. I was like, okay, now I can start getting on that train a little bit and really, really start to back him. If he keeps this up for the now, granted, I know what their schedule's like, but perfect time to start playing like that. Get those reps in, get that stuff. You know what I mean?
Listen, we always know you can be the best team in NFL, but if you get a team that is hot, that is playing both sides of the ball, anything's possible. I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
But they literally control their own destiny. They win their last three games, they more likely make the playoffs as the 7th seed. They just got to worry about them. They got to worry about themselves and not worry about anyone else.
I think the real important game coming down the stretch is going to be the next Washington game.
Oh yeah.
That's going to see like how do they respond to what just took place last night. Now with the game next week or in what 3 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, now our coach has cooties and can't coach unless he passes the test.
Yeah. So, but I mean, now we have like our next game very very close coming up real soon, and it's the second game against the Giants where we know what happened in the first one. So I'm fully expecting the Eagles now, who are playing very hot, to get that revenge game in. They'll split that series, but the one that's going to be the telltale game is going to be that next Washington game, because I can tell you right now, I'm not looking forward to playing Dallas.
Listen, Dallas.
I mean, they have their problems, but I'm still not looking forward to playing against them.
Honestly, depending on the Eagles play the next 2 weeks, I'm not scared of Dallas. Dallas isn't sweeping this division. So
I'm not worried about sweeping the division. I mean,
I'm saying they're not sweeping the division because we're going to beat them. That's what I mean.
See, I hope they do, because that. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying the Eagles are only in it because of how bad this division is. I mean, Dallas hasn't run away with it, that's for sure. But I mean, even though they have 10 wins now. So I mean, but I do. I sit there and I just think about it, and I'm kind of like not worried. I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about the Dallas game because I'm not sure that they're going to beat them. I'm not sure the Eagles are going to be able to come back and beat them in that one, no matter how good their rushing attack is right now.
Yeah. So Bill commented and wants me to burn my garbage jersey because I wore it on purpose. Well, no, actually, I had my Randall Cunningham jersey on, but with the green screen, all it is a head. It's just a head, big head.
Just
the big head, a mic.
Orange head. The big head with a mic.
Score projections for Giants-Eagles game on Sunday from Steven Jobs. Steve, if it's Jake Fromm playing, I fully expect like a 35-10 blowout. Because and realistically, they should have blew out the Washington football team yesterday.
They should have.
You had that bad interception, and that was really. I'm not even take the fumble for what it is. They got 3 out of it. They should have beat them like 34-10. Like
right.
The line was 10, and we don't kick the field. I'm sorry, the line was 10.5, and the Eagles don't kick the field goal last night. Like I would have burned every house down in my neighborhood if I bet that game last night, and I took the Eagles 10.5. I would have burnt down every single house. Would have went to Jake Elliott's house, burned his house down. Would have went to Nick Sirianni. Well, now that he got COVID, I'm glad I won. And I would have burned his house down. Like, there's no reason to not kick that field goal there. Well, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. As a bettor, you're like, oh my god. All right, so they stopped the clock. There's 24 seconds left. They're gonna kick a field goal. This is a win. Nope. Those sons of bees just ran the clock out and just kept running. and I like what Sirianni's doing. It's almost what he was doing in the beginning of the season. Well, not in the beginning, when he started running the ball. Yesterday was their 8th straight game that they had 175 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You know who the last team to do that was?
Who was that?
The 85 Bears. What did they do that year?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. They
What
also
did
had
do?
Walter Payton, so stop that right now.
What did they do?
So I'm just saying.
Hey, we got Jalen Hurts. I don't know what you're talking about. But no. I mean, we have that going for us. Like their running game is, and they're using Miles Sanders, and then they're using Jordan Howard at the end of the third and into the fourth when these players when the players are like struggling and they can't keep there's a big difference between trying to tackle Miles Sanders and trying to tackle Jordan Howard. Miles Sanders will elude you. Jordan Howard will meet you head on, one-on-one, and somebody's going down, and you're going to hear it.
Well, see, this is what I'm like confused with, though. Like, this is Jordan Howard's technically third time with the team.
Yeah, something like that.
Why did they get rid of him in the first place? Like, he's the downhill runner.
He signed a free agent deal. Then he got cut. Then he signed to the Eagles. Then he got hurt, and then he re-signed with the Eagles again this year.
I don't know. I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like, man, this guy's been here like 3 different times. I'm like, but no, you said something about the rushing attack, which made me laugh too. Well, made me think. I heard today that what Sanders did yesterday.
So hold on, real quick. I just saw William Anthony. With Nick Sirianni out, he said they should call Dougie P in for a special guest head coach. Make it like Raw in 2010.
Oh my God!
Listen. We all know Doug Peterson's going to Jacksonville. That's inevitable.
That I hope he does. That'd be pretty cool.
We'll go back to yours, and then I want to get back to coaching. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Sanders is the first Eagles running back to have back-to-back 100-yard games since 2014 with LaShawn McCoy.
That's crazy.
Oh, and here's another little stat that I heard today. As of right now, the Eagles are a 10-point favorite over the Giants. Now, the line can still change, but it's the first time in over 40 years that a division game in the NFC East has had a 10-point favorite.
What?
Yep. I heard that today, and I said,
"What? No way! Get out of here! You're lying."
No, I heard it on the radio today when I was driving.
The radio's wrong.
I'm just saying.
Crazy.
I heard it this morning on the way in.
I believe you. I just think that's
bananas. I said, how's that possible? And the explanation that was given on the radio was it's just like how competitive and how bad the division is. But I said, yeah, but we've never had 2 teams like the Giants and the Redskins be that bad at the same time. Like we've had weak division.
Well, Washington isn't that bad. Like they're not as bad as people seem they are.
Well, no, they just got hit real bad this last week. Like they were just decimated.
Listen, I'm with you, Andrew. They should again. It's a division game. I shouldn't say anything, but there's no reason for a 35-10 win. Like I'm sorry, there's just
right.
That like Jake Fromm, he hasn't been relevant since the 2018, college football championship game. And go look at the talent that was on that field.
Mm-hmm.
And then go look at the talent that we have now. So it's you got to figure. I'm pretty sure, Jalen Hurts was on that team. Calvin Ridley. I don't know. Calvin Ridley might not have been.
I don't know.
And Calvin Ridley may have been on his last year. Calvin Ridley, Devontae Smith might have been a freshman. Like there was a lot. There's a lot of talent that was on that football field. But now you have Jake Fromm, who's never really played an NFL game, and then we had Blaine Gabbert or Garrett Gilbert or whatever his name was last night. Who
the backup to the backup to the practice squad backup.
Right, and you know what? Like, he made some good throws. Listen. These guys have some kind of talent that they're still in the NFL, whether they're a practice player, practice squad player or not. Like Mike
Oh, I
Lennon,
gave Gilbert credit. He got to practice 3 days.
like,
Literally practiced 3 days with the team.
yeah, he had his first start last year. I think he was with the Steelers.
I think so.
So he's got NFL time. He's got NFL, experience. You have now going against the Eagles. He looked okay, and then the Eagles defense finally took advantage to them not having their center and their all-pro guard Scherf there.
Right.
Like the Eagles control their own destiny. Like I had alluded to earlier. There's zero reason for them not to win their last 3 games. Honestly, they should be ending the season on a 6-game winning streak and be 11-6. But that Giants game might bite them in the butt.
See, I still think it's the Washington game. I really do.
Oh no! I'm saying they should be.
Oh, you mean from the first game?
Yes, like
Gotcha,
they
gotcha.
should be going into this on a longer winning streak.
That game was so maddening. I hated it so much.
Oh, it's frustrating when you see like just the stupid stuff that the red zone interceptions. The not making reads, not using Dallas Goedert in the way he needs to be used. Like he's now being targeted 9 times a game, and he's putting up stats. Like, Washington was only missing 1 starter on defense yesterday. It was Kyle Fuller. Kyle Fuller would have been all over. What's his name? Devontae Smith. He wouldn't have been covering Dallas Goedert.
Right.
So Dallas Goedert is he's there. Like he is playing up to where he needs to be playing right now. He needs to be the main guy. He had 7 catches for 135 yards. He had 9 targets. He had 2 drops. So he probably would have had like $150.
Yeah,
because he's a beast. He's a beast. He's a beast to bring down. Like if he's in the open field, and you got to tackle him 1-on-1, you're not.
No,
you're not. Like God bless you if you think you are. So, so you got that, and then, so I don't know what else. What else the Eagles can do? So, we had this conversation with our other co-host when we discuss, Eagles. But he's doing his own Patriots podcast, so he will not be doing an Eagles podcast with us, but we will have our own show and we'll be talking about other things, but he will be doing his Patriots podcast. Shout out to Pat Hausman for getting his own Patriots stuff going on. But can someone explain to me the love for Ron Rivera?
I was waiting on it.
Like you have the other Washington football fan who tells me, "Oh, he's won Coach of the Year twice." Who else has done that? I'm like, Coach of the Year means nothing to me. Like it doesn't.
Right.
Like Doug Peterson didn't win Coach of the Year when he went 13-3. No one saw the Eagles going 13-3. So that tells you. So I am on record as saying the Coach of the Year is a great award about as much as winning the quarterback rating, having the best QBR. I think it's a stupid stat, and I think it's irrelevant. So because Ron Rivera won 2 Coach of the Year's award in 12 seasons, and he's had 3 winning seasons in 12 seasons. So I have respect for him. I'm like, well, you're gushing over him. It's not. God forbid me. Like the guy had cancer and he beat it.
Right.
Doesn't mean he's a great coach. Bruce Arians is a great coach. He's a 2-time, Coach of the Year. Chuck Knox, multiple winner, great coach. Bill Belichick, great coach. Dan Reeves, great coach. Ron Rivera, okay coach. That's it. That's it. And I have a lot of respect for Ron Rivera. I was very upset that the Washington football team, signed him to coach the team. But he needs the talent around him. He's not the Bill Belichick. He's not, as when we had Phil Andrews on, he's not the Frank Reichs of the world. He's, he doesn't get the best out of his players, in my opinion.
Right.
In my unbiased opinion, because again, I like Ron, but somebody else had commented on my status last night. Bill said because he's got a cool nickname, people love him. Oh, that's you can love him all you want. That doesn't make him a good coach, and he's 100% right. He Bill's 100% right. People in sports love nicknames. They love nicknames of people. They love it. It's So that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that he's a terrible coach. He's not Chip Kelly.
Right.
He's not. But in the same sense, he's only had one more winning season than Chip Kelly. Like, think about how crazy that is.
That is crazy.
Like, and he's been in the league a whole lot longer. I mean, Chip Kelly will never see the NFL field ever again unless he's an offensive coordinator. But he's making he had $200 million contracts. He's never coming back to college to coach anywhere.
Yeah, no, where is he coaching now? He is.
Isn't he at UCLA or something?
I think it's UCLA. But he'll never be in the NFL again. Like, his thing's college ball. That's his thing. Now with Ron Rivera, I have a lot of respect for the guy. I mean, to do what he did last year while battling cancer, that takes a lot, especially that takes a lot out of you just battling cancer alone. Not to mention the hours that you have to put in as a coach. I mean, now I know he has a great coaching staff who did the majority of the work. He implemented the game plan. They ran with it and did what they had to do. But I mean, you're talking, this is a guy who during the game was literally getting oxygen, sitting next to, like, sitting by himself getting oxygen, and still got up and coached that team to a win in that game. I mean, I give him credit. I think a lot of people now have a soft heart for him because of going through cancer and all that stuff that he was going through. I agree with you, though. He's a good coach. I'm not going to go all crazy with, he's like this coaching guru or something like that. But he's a good coach, and his players respect him. So, and when you're an owner of a franchise, a general manager of a franchise, that's all you want. That's all you want. And, like, as long as you know you're getting the best out of those guys for that coach, that's all a franchise cares about. And they get that with Ron Rivera. So that's my look.
No, your look is 100% right, and that's what I think it is. And again, I'm not saying that. So people are like, oh, well, he won the NFC East last year. He won the NFC East because Doug Peterson was told to pull Jalen Hurts for a draft pick. Let's be realistic. That draft pick turned in, that everything all said and done turned into 3 first-round picks and Devontae Smith. You can twist it any which way you want.
Right.
Jalen Hurts stays in that game. They probably win. And the Giants are the NFC champions at 6-10.
That's crazy.
I just want you to think about that. Like, let that run through your brain. That the Giants would have won the division at 6-10.
At 6-10.
That's how bad the East is. And yes, is we talk about the East, and a little shout out to Jason Kelce for making the Pro Bowl again as
him
the starter.
And Darius Slay.
Darius Slay did make it?
Yep.
Okay.
They're the only 2 Eagles to make it.
All right. The Colts had like 7 people. One wasn't Carson Wentz. It was Jonathan Taylor, which is a shocker. He's all right.
Oh yeah. He's like the only reason. He's like the main reason that they've been on a run.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Like, and listen, that's. So,
yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Derrick Henry going down, he would totally be overshadowed by Derrick Henry. But Jonathan Taylor's a pretty damn good running back.
Oh yeah, he leads the league in touchdowns and everything else, so he's pretty good. So it's like you look at Dallas' schedule. They lost to the Bucks, they lost to the Broncos, they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Raiders. They don't really have like who's a big win? The Patriots? That's their only. I'm sorry, the Chargers in week 2. I apologize. So
My boy
they've
Justin
two.
Herbert.
They've two big wins against teams. You can go in and you they play Washington, they play the Cardinals, who were gonna be gunning because they got to get back into the playoff race. When all said and done, if they come out and they got to play the Rams, they're probably going to lose. They're not getting the number 1 seed. And I don't know how the NFL works anymore, but I don't understand how they're the number 2 seed with the same record as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they head to head they won. Like I think the NFL made a change with opponents, like the same opponents you play. I'm like, what about head to head? Like that doesn't make sense. But again, what the hell do I know? I don't work for the NFL.
Well, you never know. One day you might.
Yeah, I couldn't be so lucky. Making them bukkake money that Roger Goodell makes that them damn people.
He's getting ready to retire soon, isn't he?
He's not retiring. Why would you retire? He's got the easiest job.
Well, there was someone mentioned that the other day on the radio. These one of the sports guys on believe it was the Fanatic here in Philly said something about he's getting ready to he's starting to do his thing, getting ready to wind down and retire. I was like, wow, why? That's crazy. But anyway.
So back to Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
So anybody watching, and anybody who's ever going to listen on our new home, the Six Pack Coverage, you can see their logo in the front. Check out our pages on Instagram, on Facebook. We're linked with them, so you can go there, check out everything else. But Jalen Hurts, like again, as I was saying, if you don't like him, what is your reasoning? I want you to come on the Philly podcast, sponsored by the Monkey's Uncle. I had to do a little plug. And tell me why you don't like him. What are the deficiencies that you don't like about him? You can't use his arm strength because Drew Brees didn't have a strong arm. And he played for 20 years. So I'm going to throw that right out the door. If that's your criteria, you're getting punted. It's getting punted right out the window. So you got to come up with something other than his arm. If it's his reads, if it's his bad decision making running the ball, that's what I want. That's what I want to hear. That is exactly what I want to hear. So hopefully we can get this out and people can come on. They play the Giants. So I'm going to make a prediction for Stephen Jobs. Yeah, but it's over. Like again, everyone knows I was a Wentz guy, but I'm still the hate that I'm seeing is unwarranted. Like people were joking around last night, like at their first 2 series where I was in the section when I was at the game. They were like, "Bring in Minshew." I'm like, "Relax." Like, he had a lucky interception and he fumbled the ball.
Yeah, you can't hold that interception against him. That was just a freak thing. Like, it got kicked off the back of a heel. I mean, come on.
So, we had that. So, tell me why you don't like Jalen Hurts. And taking Wentz's spot can't be the reason. Because there's that's an easy way out. That's an easy argument for people. We had a franchise quarterback and, Carson and Jalen Hurts took his spot away. Yes, we had a franchise quarterback. I truly believe Carson Wentz is a franchise quarterback. But that's a Howie Roseman thing. That's not a Jalen Hurts thing.
Well, look, the other thing was about that you also have the flip side for the people that want Jalen Hurts because of how bad Carson Wentz was. You know, they wanted to run that guy out of town because of one bad season, and he's having a bounce back season with Frank Reich, which a lot of people predicted would happen. Now, yes, I know the last game he threw for 57 yards, but again,
I don't.
what's the difference between how they're winning football games with their running attack to the Eagles winning football games with mostly their running attack, even though Jalen Hurts had a very good game last night.
Jalen Hurts
Passing
threw
the ball
10.
too.
Jalen Hurts threw 10 passes or 12 passes in the Saints game. Or it might have even been 15.
It's
Frank Reich turned
literally-
around he turned around and he used Bill Belichick's mode and kept Mac Jones off the field.
Yeah.
He kept Mac Jones off the field, and they beat them. They beat the Patriots. Some people were, a couple Patriots fans were saying, "Oh, well, this happened and that happened." That's football. Like that's football, and that's how it goes. There's no excuses. So, to the fans on Twitter who were saying that, well, if we didn't block the punt, if they didn't block the punt, and if this didn't happen, and if Mac Jones didn't have a red zone interception, and this and that, yeah, well, if my uncle had breast, he'd be my aunt. So I don't want to hear it. So that notion is going right out the door. And listen, everyone knows I got a lot of respect for the New England Patriots. I've been a fan of them since the early '90s, since the Drew Bledsoe days. So I don't give anyone any excuse. Well, what if and this and that and this and that. Yeah, well, if Brandon Graham doesn't force the fumble on Tom Brady, we're probably talking about Tom Brady winning at that time his 5th Super Bowl,
right,
or 6th Super Bowl, whatever, 5th. So you can take the what ifs and throw it out the door. Like it's over with. I'm washing my hands of it. What if Dallas Goedert catches that pass last night? They win by 30.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
And I hate the what ifs. 3 or 4 plays don't define a season or a game.
No,
it's a couple more plays than that, but and coming from me when I sat there and I ripped Jalen Hurts for his interceptions against the Giants game. If Rager had brought in any one of those 2 catches, we wouldn't be having the conversation of how bad Jalen Rager was and how bad Jalen Hurts was.
Right.
Rager needs to come out and he just needs to have good games the rest of the season. And hopefully they make the playoffs and he has a game-winning touchdown. Because I would shove it right down every single Philadelphia fan who booed me. I'm sorry. That's just me.
That's look, I don't know if the fans, no matter what Jalen Rager does, I think they're going to look at him as a Nelson Aguilar type. I really do. They're going to look at him like that because even though Aguilar turned it around in 2017 and had a very good season and then kind of regressed again afterwards, people are going to look at him that way. Like they have a certain stigma about that guy, and that's just how it's going to be. They're never going to really give him a chance now. But yeah, no. To go back to what you originally said, I can't find anything right now that people should be going against Jalen Hurts. I mean, he finally showed some maturity when it came to the passing game, and it worked. He was working. He was clicking. I mean, not to mention what he did in the run game and scoring a couple touchdowns. I mean, you're talking he had over 336 yards with 3 touchdowns total. So that's a damn good game.
I don't care how the touchdowns were either.
Yeah, no, I don't care either.
What the? So to get back, did anyone catch? I don't know what time. I don't even know when it happened. I know it was the second half when Darius Slay lined up on offense. I
did see that. I
was in a suite. And I'm like, I know I'm not the only one seeing this. Like, why is Darius Slay on the offense?
Yeah, I did see that. And as a matter of fact, on the broadcast, they're like, and Darius Slay lines up. I was like, what? What they say? Darius Slay.
Right. I think it's funny that people were ripping at Sirianni for bringing out the 2-point conversion lineup at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he was trying to draw them offside, so it would, instead of the 2, it would be the 1. I think it was a great play.
I thought it was smart.
You
really
you
did.
have nothing. You have 3 timeouts. You're not going to get the ball back.
No.
Unless a miraculous fumble happens. I thought it was a great play, and you do that, and it's 10-10. Cool.
Yeah, and I was
Perfect.
I was just going to say that was also something else I wanted to touch on. Like, I'm really impressed with Sirianni in these last few weeks. Like,
I got nothing. Like, he's ridiculous.
yeah, he literally has turned it around. Like, I mean, the first 6 weeks of the season, I was like, okay, this dude is way overmatched.
One and done.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I mean, and I'm one of those guys where you got to give a coach a season to get to know his players and everything. And I thought he ain't going to friggin' make it past week 9. I was like, this guy's done. And he's turned it around. He really did. And you're starting to see some of that Frank Reich style play calling.
Yep.
Which now I'm having more confidence in each game that they're playing.
Listen, again, it goes back to what I say. And again, I was one of the guys who was like, I don't know about this dude talking about flowers and playing rock, paper, scissors. And, he got thrown to the wolves. I was a little iffy. But, I'm always like, give the guy a chance, And then you sit there and fans like, no, he sucks. He sucks. You know who sucks? Urban Meyer sucks.
Urban Meyer sucks.
Urban Meyer sucks. If I was Josh Lambo and he kicked me in my leg, I would have shot him in his face. I'm sorry. Like, that's my livelihood. I would have shot you right in your face and lost the 0 sleep over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
all right.
No,
go ahead. Go.
No. I was just saying, like, I'm shooting you in your face, and I'm just gonna go to the Jacksonville Police Department and say, listen, he kicked me in my leg. He tried to injure me. I was protecting myself, so I shot him in the face. I mean, I walked to my locker, got my gun, and then shot him in the face.
It was self-defense.
But it is Florida, so it is a stand your ground rule. So
that is true.
he might have got away with it, but like what kind of human being kicks another human being like that?
Right.
Like I don't get it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, Urban Meyer, like that whole thing, like I was surprised he made it to where he did, after that. I really was. Like, he just a mess. And I know they're a bad team. I know Jacksonville's a bad team, but they're so bad that even the second coming of Peyton Manning, Trevor Lawrence, just looks like he's outmatched. Like they need a lot of work, that team. But speaking of a lot of work, well, now it's official. The Eagles now have 3 first-round picks. So what do you think happens with these picks?
He's going to trade it for draft capital.
I think so too. But
as Phil Andrews said 2 weeks ago, it's going to drive Eagles fans nuts.
Yep. Yes, sir. I do believe that. You're right. Okay, so I think you want to do a quick commercial break real fast?
Sure.
On, one of our sponsors for La Terrain.
Yep, we got a nice little commercial that they sent us over.
Yep, got to play it. They pay the bills. Got to do it. All right. Be back in a little bit, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and here's our commercial from sponsor La Terrain Watches.
They say every watch tells a story. Family. Moments. Lifetimes. With La Terrain, this is a watch that spans generations, not just from where it came from, but for where it will go. Knowing one of these, having one of these, is what being a professional, being casual, and being you is all about. From our family to yours, La Terrain.
All right, there you go. Thank you for that sponsorship by La Terrain Watches. So, all right, so you were talking about the 3 draft picks, and I agree. I think they're going to use one of them. It's interesting to see where they're going to go with one of them now. But I do see them trading at least two of them for some kind of draft capital. I mean, if Jalen Hurts can finish the season out like he played yesterday, there's no doubt in my mind that they go in another direction and do not take quarterback Kenny Pickett in the in the draft. So I really think if Jalen Hurts can finish out the season the way he played last night, and they especially make the playoffs, he gets that second year to start, third year in the league. I don't know what they're going to do though. Like now it's like a complete chess game. Like you never know what Howie's going to do.
Listen, they were in a prime position 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then Miami and Indianapolis like, all right, hold on. We're going to actually start playing now. And Miami's won, 7 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, dude. Come on, Tua. You're supposed to suck.
Yeah, well, that you want to talk about someone's turning his season around. That's a guy who's coming alive, like because him and Jalen Hurts are going to be compared all the time because of college and they're going to be compared all the time. But yeah, now I'm starting to see the Tua that everyone talked about what you saw in college, and of course he has to screw the Eagles.
But you're gonna have 3 first-round picks. You're not gonna draft all 3 first-round picks. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And someone told me the other day. I told them, I said, look, I said, there's no way they use all 3 first-round picks. I said they only have, or they will only have going into the next off season, like once contracts expire, who they decide to keep or whatnot. They're only going to have about $27 million because they restructured deals so that 30 some million that they were going to get back on the books from Carson Wentz from being dead cap this year is gone because they had to restructure contracts. So they're only going to have about 27 million.
Yeah, but 1, the salary cap's going up. 2,
the salary cap is going up.
2, some players are going to get released who aren't going to be back.
Right. Exactly.
So
it happens every year.
I'm going to say they're probably going to have 35 million.
Well, all right, yeah. I mean that's a lot better. I mean you're talking almost 10 million more than what they would have if they didn't really do nothing else.
That's like it's a tier 1 player, like a really good player making 10 million, $8 to $10 million. Like tier 1A, because people overpay. Like Amari Cooper makes ridiculous money for what he makes.
Yeah, and look what happened to him. They brought him in to be the number 1, and they draft CeeDee Lamb, and he just kind of pushed Cooper to the side. CeeDee Lamb's now the number 1 guy on a rookie deal.
And then you have
no, what's that?
No, I was just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So, and someone was telling me, oh, well, they're going to have plenty of money to sign all 3 of these picks. I said, yeah, but it's not financially feasible for them to do that. I said, it's not like they have like $90 million sitting there that they can spend. I said, they're not going to have. I said, you can't. I said that's a lot of money you're putting into first-round picks. I said they have other positions of need that they can fill via free agency.
Yeah, and imagine if all 3 of those first-round picks turn out to be phenomenal football players.
Yeah.
You think about the money you would have to put out then.
Exactly. I mean, you're talking. You have them for their 4 years. They're 5-year option. So you have them for 5 years each, and then they're at least 2 of them are gone. Maybe just one. Who knows?
Well, you could hit one with a franchise tag, and you could hit someone with a transition tag, and then another one goes. There's a lot of like what ifs. Again, it goes back to the what if that we discussed earlier. Yeah. They're going to trade for draft capital. They're going to trade for a pick in 2023. They might, depending on what happens, if he drafts another goddamn quarterback, I may call it a work because I'm going to drink Corona and whiskey. That's my new
Corona and whiskey.
That's my new thing. I drink Corona during draft. I did it during 2020 with that No, yeah. We're agreeing. Like we're in agreement that they're trading away, Drew. Like
Oh
there's no
yeah,
reason
they
to
definitely
draft.
are.
Unless for some, unless for some reason both these teams fall out and they get the first, second, and third pick, I would be like, you got to take the top 3 picks. Well, it won't happen, but you have to. You got to be smart. You got to think about the future. You can't get yourself into another Carson Wentz situation where you're sitting on $30 million of dead money because I can't take it no more. I can't take us drafting. If they draft another quarterback and he turns out to be a franchise quarterback, and then we have Jalen Hurts still, like I'm throwing snowballs to Santa. I'm sorry. It was 60 years ago, and I'm gonna bring it back up.
I mean, look, everyone was going crazy over the fact that how we went and saw Pickett, when I actually watched him. I was like,
It's his
all
job.
gentlemen, yeah, it's his job. They all do that. Like I wasn't looking too far into it. I mean, because I saw a guy on social media who was like, he just wants to draft this guy. That's all there is to it. He's not going to give Jalen Hurts a chance. He's out on him. And I was like, well, if he's out on him, he's out on him. I said, there's nothing you can do about it. I said, now, last night may have changed his mind. I mean, because face it, every year there's always those darling players of the pro days, the combine, and they have those last minute interviews before the draft. You have those guys that stocks rise and stock fall. So it's always going to happen. But if you're a GM and you're not looking at quarterbacks every single year, you're not doing your job right. It's the most important position on a football team. You're not doing your job right if you're not looking into it.
No, you're right. It's the only GMs who didn't look at quarterbacks, but they still took them, was the Saints GM and the Patriots GM.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got Tom Brady, I got Drew Brees. I have no reason to look at quarterbacks. But if for some reason there's a quarterback there, I'm going to take one. And they took Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned out
exactly.
He was a serviceable quarterback for Patriots. Now he's an overrated quarterback for the Niners. You have Drew Brees. We all know what he was. His backup was Taysom Hill, who that dude's like Mike Lennon stealing money. That dude's a backup making $11 million. He makes more than a WNBA. The entire WNBA. Not just
I mean that deal that he signed
makes 0 sense.
It's like a performance-based deal for what position he's playing.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like, how do you figure that one out? I just don't get it.
It's manipulating the salary cap, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, that is for sure. I just couldn't believe it. Like, and the amount of the money, I was like, this guy does nothing. Like, he comes in every once in a while. He's a gadget guy. No, he's not even a wildcat guy. He's legit just some guy they throw out there who happens to be fast. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
so I don't know. But honestly, though, if Howie Roseman takes a quarterback with one of those picks, I agree with you. I'm going to be like, what the hell just happened? Like, oh my gosh.
Taysom Hill's guarantees are $21.5 million for 4 years.
That's not bad for Taysom Hill to steal money. That's not bad at all.
The big thing, but and then people be like, well, he beat Tom Brady 9-0. No, he didn't beat Tom Brady 9-0. The Saints defense beat Brady 9-0. Taysom Hill didn't throw 4 touchdowns, unless touchdowns are now 2s. Like, like Taysom Hill didn't beat. So anyone who's gonna say that Taysom Hill beat Tom Brady, I'm pump the brakes. Relax.
That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. What was I just going to say? But what we were talking about earlier with Jalen Hurts. Like I'm still seeing it. And just before this game this week, I was talking to someone and I told them, I said, look, I said, I like the player. I want to see him do more in the pocket, which he did this week. Um, I said, but as far as I'm concerned, I said, he's a project player that they took in the second round. I said, they didn't need to take him in that second round. Like I told someone, I said, if you go, I said, I used NFL.com's scouting report on Jalen Hurts. I said, I said all the scouting reports are pretty much the same. They talk about his arm strength. They talk about him, with his reads, how he looks to run after the first read, and that that at the time he was a liability in the pocket because he doesn't, he doesn't use it. He looks to run out of the pocket. But then you had your pros, which was his legs, his ability to extend plays, and stuff like that. And they used the NFL player comparison, which I always find funny because fans will compare him to. I have heard them compare him to Lamar Jackson, and I said, well, what are your thoughts on NFL.com scouting report comparing him to Tim Tebow, who is not even in the NFL? That's his player comparison. Well, you can't go by player comparisons. I was like, but you're comparing him to Lamar Jackson. I was like, I'm not saying he can't turn into that, but how can you say, oh no, this player comparison? No, you can't use player comparisons, but yet you'll turn around and use an MVP comparison.
I'll do you one better, and I'll say he'll be better than Lamar Jackson.
I hope he is. I do. I hope he is.
Again, if this is what I reiterated 15 weeks ago, I'm not against the guy.
Nope.
But when he plays like shit, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to criticize him. I don't care what the coaches call. He's still got to make the plays. The coaches could call 65 plays and 60 of them could be pass plays. He's still got to make those plays.
Yeah, exactly. He does. But I mean, me, all I've ever said was, I didn't say that I didn't like the guy. All I ever said was I didn't think he was a franchise quarterback. Now,
franchise quarterback is a couple weeks ago, a couple episodes ago, we had the Darth Pooh on. It was Keith Newman, and he said the franchise quarterback is an overused statement in the NFL, which it could be.
No, I believe it is. But we've had people that were proclaiming him a franchise quarterback just because he got the starting job over Carson Wentz. And I was like, that's not a franchise quarterback. That's technically he got the starting job by default because Carson Wentz wanted to be traded. If Carson Wentz was not traded, there was no way he was going to be the starting quarterback.
Is Taylor Heineke a franchise quarterback?
Nope.
Is Daniel Jones a franchise quarterback?
To some delusional fans, yes, but no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know we're ending our show in about 3 minutes. Don't tell me that some of those people in first down think he's a franchise quarterback.
Let's
either a yes or no answer.
I'm only going to say that there is one that absolutely believes he is. I'm not naming names, but there is one person in that group that absolutely believes that he is a franchise quarterback. And I was like, okay. I said that's good. Good for you.
I hope he's their quarterback.
If they think that if that person thinks he's a franchise quarterback, I want him to be there for 15 years.
Right, I'm in.
I want him there for a long, long time.
To me, Jimmy Garoppolo is not a franchise quarterback.
No.
No. He had his shortcomings, and they drafted Trey Lance for a reason.
Yep. Now, I'm not going to lie to you.
And they drafted Trey Lance in the first round. It wasn't like they drafted Trey Lance in the second round like the Eagles did with Wentz and Hurts. They drafted a guy in the top, I want to say top 5. Wasn't he like the third pick?
I think he was. I think he was. I I have to look right now.
I'm loading. I have it. It's loading for me. But if you have a franchise quarterback, what's up, Pat? So, like, Trey Lance is, he's the guy who's gonna overtake, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes, he was. He was the 3rd pick in the draft.
Right. So that's,
Yeah,
Josh
he was
Allen.
the 3rd pick in the draft.
Josh Allen's a franchise quarterback. Joe Burrow is a franchise quarterback.
It's funny you mentioned Josh Allen. That is Trey Lance's NFL comparison.
I can see it because Josh Allen had the same attributes coming out of college. He was raw, but he could throw the ball 98 yards.
Yep, it's exactly it.
Hurts is not my franchise quarterback. But you're
rooting
rooting for it. But hold on, you're rooting for him, right? You're not rooting against him. You're rooting for him. And Patrick, did you start Dallas Goedert last night? What I need to know. I know you drafted him in the beginning of the season. Okay. He's a solid backup. And there's nothing wrong with that. But
knocked out of your fantasy. That sucks.
We'll do fantasy football next year. We'll see if we get
can
the
do
guys.
that in the off season.
We'll see if we get the guys from Six Pack. See if Albert Hainsworth wants to draft some players. See if he takes the Tennessee Titans defense and Derrick Henry, because I'm taking Derrick Henry. So like Jacksonville Jaguars, the Texans don't have a franchise quarterback.
Right.
There you go. Perfect. That's a perfect comparison. That's a perfect statement.
Oh yeah, if they put the right pieces around him, he can be a franchise quarterback.
And the right pieces are an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I mean, you can have a franchise quarterback who has no line and has great offensive players. He could stink. You could have a team, with great offensive line and no players, a la 2019 Wentz, and put the team on his back and win it. Oh, what is that?
What is what?
Oh my God.
Oh, so
6-game losing streak. That's some Dallas Cowboys shit right there. German, I have no idea where Deshaun Watson ends up. Our luck will be a goddamn Philadelphia Eagle, and we'll have another quarterback controversy. I can't deal with another quarterback controversy. Like, I can't. I'm becoming an alcoholic.
No, I don't see. No, he won't be here. He won't be here at all.
I'm not. Would you be shocked if Howie somehow pulls a trade out of his ass and gets him?
Oh, if Howie does that, that's just Howie being Howie. And I would legit be like, I don't know where to go with this.
All right, so Pat, while you have the reliable arm for me. So I had earlier in the show, I had said, what's your problem with Hurts? Why don't you like him? You can't use his arm as an excuse because Drew Brees did not have an NFL arm. Let's be realistic. Compared to these other quarterbacks, Drew Brees did not have the strongest arm in the league. He had a good arm, but he threw a nice ball. So you can see that's where Hurts' arm strength is at. Like it's at the Drew Brees-esque, type. And Drew Brees had a lot of good receivers in his career. He had Marquise Colston, he had Michael Thomas. I think he had Joe Horn for a season or two. Like he had some good receivers. So he had Reggie Bush the year they went to the Super Bowl. Like he had a lot of weapons. He had Deuce McAllister. He had a good running game. So to me, you can't use the arm. Like I just don't like it.
Okay, now for me.
Okay. I'll give you that. I'll give it. So real quick, I'll give them the defense well enough, and that's fine. If you watched the game last night, you could look. He was looking around. He's got to get better because his feet were terrible when he was looking around. He was very skittish. So I'll give you that one. That's a good one. I can't argue with that. He looked good last night, but if you go back and you watch the replays and watch his legs, because again, I was at the game and they showed a replay on the big board. you could see like how he was. But he didn't
Well-
last night. He didn't last night.
See, all right, now my thing would be I agree with the reading of the defenses. He because that's something that he does need work on, and he did well last night. For me, it would be his accuracy. His accuracy was off a lot this year. I mean, last night he's making a liar out of me right now when he threw that touchdown to Greg Ward. Like that was.
Hold on, he wasn't even in the pocket. That's I wanted to bring that up
Yeah.
to you because you were like he was really good in the pocket. I was like, well, his
And that-
touchdown.
That touchdown, he was not in the pocket. He was on the move, and that was a dart over the shoulder, and Greg Ward caught it.
All right, so I'll give you. So I'll give you the Drew Brees thing. I'll give you another quarterback who didn't have a strong arm. Jeff Garcia did not have a strong arm. Had a
Jeff
really good-
Garcia was, yeah.
Listen. I know he had Terrell Owens, but he still made plays when he had to.
Jeff Garcia was. What? Go ahead.
When he's talking about feet. No. See, when I talk about feet, Pat, I'm talking about in the pocket. Like to me, he doesn't have. You know who had good feet for as lanky as he was, and he was a point guard in college, was Nick Foles. Go back and watch him. For a guy who ran the RPO with Chip Kelly, he had good feet. To me, that's good feet. A guy who can do his feet aren't skittish, and he worked on it because he was terrible his first year. And then we all know, how is the 2013, but he had good feet, and Nick Foles doesn't have the strongest arm. So that when I'm talking about feet, I'm talking about moving around in the pocket, not just standing there and going like this and going like this. I'm talking about moving your leg, jumping, doing like how Brady does. That's what I mean. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
He's saying that he needs to understand.
Well played.
That's so funny.
Well played. I got you.
Well
Bill.
played. Well, that's funny. Yeah, but no, for me it would be Jalen Hurts' accuracy though. That he need
You're
that
100%
to me
right.
what's that?
You're 100% right.
Yeah, to me it would be the accuracy. He seems to be getting better at reading the defenses. He still needs work on that, but the biggest thing for me is accuracy. Yeah, that's mine.
I can't argue with you. You're 100. I'm with you 100%. All right. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
unless you have anything else, I think
No.
I think we had our first good episode of this, the Philly podcast on a six-pack coverage. Our first official show for six-pack coverage. We're streamed to the Philly podcast Facebook page, my personal page, your LinkedIn, Six Packs YouTube, and their Twitter, and our Twitches.
Yep.
So I'm going to end it with a Hurts touchdown against the Saints, because that's what we do. Check us out either Monday or Tuesday of next week. We'll tweet it out and everything else. I think I'm going over in New Jersey on Monday. So I'm going to try and see if we can get Barry Jordan to come on since we're playing the Giants.
perfect.
And we'll get his. Hopefully we're not setting the city on fire because we lost again. So with that, guys, let's go to the.
Peace out.
You want Philly?
It's easy to sum it up. We talking about